Hello everybody, and thank you for watching. So this is not going to be my typical video on my channel. So this is very centered around Cross Stitch It's Fun, which is the Facebook group that I administer, and some of the things that are changing in the group. So, and you'll have to excuse the things, lots of things are happening. All good for the group. But I'm going to focus today on Stitchwhats. So, I have been trying to evolve Stitchwhats for a long time. But things always seem to be in the way. I don't have enough band. Anyway, lots of reasons why it hasn't happened yet. But I finally think we've got it where it wants to be. So we have new heads of house for a lot of the houses, and we have lots of people giving input and helping. And so I'm going to take the next step, and I think it will benefit all of us. What we're going to do is Cross Stitch It's Fun is going to be more centered around Stitchwhats. So, that being said, what we're going to do is, in probably the next week or so, you'll see something come up for joining a house. If you're already in a house, you stay in the house you're in. But if you'd like to join the event, you need to be in Cross Stitch It's Fun, and you need to join a house. So what you're going to do is you're going to answer a questionnaire, you're going to have a score, and then either the headmistress or the deputy headmistress will place you in a house. And then you go and join that house, and we're going to have events in the houses. So each house will have a head stitcher, or a head of house, and a head stitcher. So you can see where that's going. All right, so some of the rules, because I know this is going to be a question, and I just thought I would go over it, and I have notes off to the side. So you have to be in Cross Stitch It's Fun, and you have to be sorted by answering the questions and being assigned by the headmistress or the deputy headmistress. All right. The reason you have to be in Cross Stitch It's Fun is because that's where a lot of the events are going to be. Otherwise, it doesn't work as well if there's not a central place for all the houses. So that's what we're doing. You can think of Cross Stitch It's Fun as the common areas of Stitchwhats. All right. So points are going to be awarded for finishes and participation. There's lots of different ways to earn points. And points will also be able to be lost depending on what's going on. So, for example, we have a Quidditch tournament that is coming up starting August 1st, and it will run through September 3rd. And there will be a whole separate video for the Quidditch game. All right. In November, we're going to have an event based on a trip to Hogsmeade. And in January, we're going to have the Tri-Wizard Tournament. And then, so those are the three events that I know of. It's not to say we won't add some, but right now that's what we have listed. We will also have Owls, which will be a project that has to be approved by your head of house, headmistress, or deputy headmistress, and there'll be a time limit to finish that project. Newts, again, will have a time limit, and there's different time limits. It's going to be a different scale, and there will be points awarded for each of those. All right, you'll also have detentions, which means you have to finish a whip in a predetermined amount of time. And if you do, you win your points. If you don't, you lose your points. So there's that. And then we're going to have classes. So we have 12 classes. And you can win points in each of the classes. How many classes you sign up for is completely up to you. But here are the classes. So we have herbology, which are going to be your Hades, your Tiltons, that type of thing. You're going to have potions, which are projects that are food or beverage based. History of magic, which is our primitive designs. Care of magical creatures, which is anything animal based. Divination, which is going to be like your mirrors, your lavender and laces. Charms is going to be your word work. So cute sayings, something where words are the center of the focus. Defense of the dark arts is going to be things you've stitched on black or dark fabrics, so blacks, browns, you know, that type of thing. Transfiguration is going to be working on things like biscornus, stitching books, scissor fobs, those type of things. Numerology is your alphabets, or number charts if you were doing something like that. Muggle studies will be something that involves families, people, those type of themes. Arthromancy is like your calendar project. So if you're doing, you know, the seasons, or there's one, the 12-part, something of that nature, that's where that would go. And astronomy is stars, planets, space, or anything that is science-based. You might be able to guess what my favorite is. Anyway. All right, there are some rules for just in general for the classes. So your project must have a minimum of 500 stitches. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you can't stitch on the smaller project. However, you're going to have to group multiple to get your points because it has to be 500 stitches minimum. All right, the project has to fit in the correct theme. So you have to figure out how you want to work that theme. You might have to be a little creative, and I'm sure your houses will be willing to help you. You can fit anything into a theme. We are very good at this. A little creativity goes a long way. All right, don't be scared of the themes. You can do it. All right, you can only use a project for one class, so you can't be stitching a Hade of, oh, let's see, owls, and it can't go in Hades or animals. It has to go in one or the other. So you have to pick what class you're going to earn points. But you can have your Hade owls in the herbology class, and you can have a different project in the animals class, or in in care of magical creatures class. So you can work multiple projects, and the classes run all semester, so they will the fall semester will be from probably mid-August, September, somewhere in there, until the end of December. And then the spring's classes will start up in January and go through probably mid to late June, depending on when I start when we get everything set up for the first semester. All right, so we'll have that. All right, so you have to finish to get your points for each class. So you have to post a starting picture and a finishing picture for each project in each class that you're doing. All right. If you want to use a whip, I'm not saying you can't use a whip, but if you want to use a whip, it has to be approved by either your head of house, the deputy headmistress, or the headmistress. So what we're looking for is it needs to be half or less finished. So if you're putting a Hade in, Hades or page finishes to count as a finish. You can't have more than half the page done to count for that finish. Okay? All right. And we have some criteria to kind of help you figure out if it will count or not. All right. So if you do an FFO, so if you fully finish it and you frame it, you make it into an object, you will get an additional 2 points. All right. So what earns what points? And again, all of this will be in a document that you will have the ability to look at. But I'm just going over it because some people do better. The teacher's coming out. Anyway, sidetracked. Points. So if you do an extra large project, such as a Haid, a Tilton, anything that's full coverage. So even if you pull out a Teresa Winsler and you do a full page Teresa Winsler, that is equivalent to a Haid or a Tilton, and it's 20 points for a page finish. If you do a large project, so something that's like 300 by 300, such as a Mira or a lavender and lace, you finish a Mira or a lavender and lace, it's worth 20 or 15 points. Sorry. A medium is something that's in the category of 200 by 200 points, like a Joan Elliott Ferry or something. That's 10 points. So if you do something small, that's like 100 by 100, smaller, it's worth 5 points. All right. So, and that's for the classes. So that's the points you can earn from your classes. For the other events, we have some other fun things. And this is probably an evolving list, but as it stands right now, we have several events that we will be running. So we will have Floss Bingo. And we've done Floss Bingo before, but if you aren't familiar, somebody will put up an admin or a mod. Somebody from the mod squad. It's so much easier to just say mod squad. Somebody from that team will start a thread in the main common area, so the main group, and will put a number, and you have to stitch 50 stitches in that color. It'll be 50 or 100, probably 50. And the first person to get the 50 calls bingo. Their team will earn a point, and that person who called the bingo gets to pick the next color. And we'll do that, and it'll be all on one thread. All right. We will also have something called the moving portrait game. So what that's going to be is, again, somebody will post from the team a picture of a whip. If you can guess that whip, the first person to guess that whip earns their team a point. If you've submitted the whip picture for the game, you also earn your team a point. Now, with all of these games in the main forum, it is going to be essential that you not only post your name, but you tell us what group you're in. There are a lot of members, and we want to make this as fun and as easy for everyone. That includes the people administering the game. We don't want to burn anybody out. So let's keep that in mind. Try and be patient and understanding with everybody. Just a side note there. All right. The next thing that can happen is a Dementor attack. So that is when the Dementors invade the school, which will be the common area, main group. And the first house to have 10 people from their house post the required Patronus to defeat the Dementor will win 10 points. The other houses lose 5 points. A little tricky there. All right. Out of bounds. So, if the headmistress or the deputy headmistress do a bed check and you're not there, you'll lose some points. All right. So, the last house to post the required number of check-ins will lose 5 points, and the other houses gain 5 points. All right. Trolls. Somebody let a troll loose in the school. The first team to cast the correct spell wins 10 points. and there's no the other teams don't win or lose anything. Okay? So that's what we have right now. I fully expect there to be more, but this is what we have right now. And we will be posting next week how to join. It might go up this week, we'll see, but probably next week. And so spread the word, watch for the events. If you're not in the group, you need to get into the group. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think everybody is looking forward to it. So I hope you all have fun and enjoy it, and I will talk to you later. Bye now.